So we got some big rumors about a potential new subline of Transformer product. I was hesitant to talk about it because when it was first sent to me, this information 2 weeks ago, it was just one individual, wasn't a credible source, and I was like, I'm going to wait to see. As time passed the past couple of weeks, a lot of people have been sending me this information. Now, granted, it's been no one that I would deem extremely credible, so take all of this with a grain of salt. Like I always say, this might be legit, this might just be, absolute bull. But we will see. We will use this segment to dog ear the news, make a note, and if this stuff never comes to be, then we know that it is not credible, and to ignore those sources. Let's take a look at it, shall we? So, up to this point, we've had a lot of sidelines that have been coming from Amazon in relation to the main War for Cybertron product. We had Galactic Odyssey with Earthrise, we had the Golden Disc collection with Kingdom, and now we're going to get something, according to this, for the Transformers Legacy line. And this is going to be a Transformers Legacy sideline with Amazon called The Wreckers, throwing back to that crazy battle team from the Autobots that originated from the hands of Simon Furman all those years ago and has existed through multiple different iterations in Transformers history to today. Kind of makes sense with the theme of Transformers Legacy, celebrating the past of Transformers and all the different legacies of them. But maybe this is just some creative fake news. Who knows? But let's find out. We have the full list of everything here, and we're going to go into it and break it down. It's pretty detailed, what has been sent to me, of what this is all going to be. So the first character, we have essentially 8 figures here. Potentially could be 2 packs of each. We'll discuss that at the end. But we have 8 figures here. The first one is a Deluxe class Impactor, and it's a redeco. That's all they say here. It's probably going to be a repaint of one of the 2 different Impactor molds that we got from Siege, whether it be the 3-pack or the individual. How they're going to redeco it, I do not know. I felt that both of those versions, if you will, that we got through Siege were pretty good attempts at that of the UK comic book color scheme. Maybe they're going for something that'll be a little different. Maybe they'll do something that's a little more battle damaged. I don't know. But we'll see what happens with that one. Probably the least exciting of the bunch here. I mean, it was pretty great to get Impactor in Siege. That's awesome. But now I don't think it's something that's really necessary. But I guess, how do you do a Wrecker set and not have Impactor? It's kind of a key character there. Then we have Deluxe class, Topspin, and Twin Twist. 2 separate Deluxes here. The notes that are given to me here is that they are going to be having their Saltman Z color schemes. So we're going to get the weird color schemes of these, and these are obviously repaints of the Titans Returns versions, which are pretty tough to come by today. So if you didn't get those versions, you could get the red and silver, or red and yellow, or the silver and black variant color schemes of Topspin and Twin Twist. I guess we could definitely say, with no pun intended, take this all with a grain of Saltman Z. I'm sorry about that. We also have here, this one's very interesting, Deluxe class Leadfoot. Now, Leadfoot was retroactively turned into a Wrecker by Simon Furman when he did his Regeneration comic book. And when I say retroactively, it's kind of the chicken before the egg because of a Michael Bay movie. I'll get into that in a moment. The Leadfoot that I'm referring to here is that of the Formula One car from the G2 Rotor Force. And the reason why we know that it's going to be that one is because they have here in the notes here, it's going to be a repaint of the Kingdom Golden Disc Collection Mirage, which confirms it will be that Earth mode Formula One car of Mirage. Now, Leadfoot, being a Wrecker, first originated from Dark of the Moon with that NASCAR character from the Dark of the Moon movies. Of course, That came before Leadfoot was made retroactively into a wrecker in the Regeneration comic books by Simon Furman. I guess Simon was pulling from the Dark of the Moon version and going, oh, we could take this G2 Rotor Force character that Simon used in the G2 comics when he wrote those, and he made that just strictly a Rotor Force character. And I'll make that part of the wreckers now too, because he's, one version of him in the Dark of the Moon movie continuity is a wrecker. So I get it. I could see how that works. Being part of the Rotor Force, he had this, I guess, propeller kind of gimmick, which was kind of funny because all the Rotor Force members, minus that of Leadfoot, the rotor gimmick made sense with their alt modes, where him being a Formula One, it didn't really make sense. And I mean, Formula One cars, they don't even have rotary engines, so that doesn't make sense either. As a Formula One enthusiast, I appreciate Rotor Force getting a toy. Leadfoot getting a toy, but at the same time, I do not know how they're going to go about it. Maybe they'll retool a new weapon for him that has a little rotor gimmick, or just some kind of little rotor accessory for the Kingdom Mirage. That'd be kind of cool. But, the yellow and blue color scheme, I dig it. I mean, it's a character that hasn't had a good updated version of that G2 character, so I'm pretty sure the G2 collectors and stuff like that will get a nice version of that. And I could see it being done with the Mirage mold. It works out nice. And that Kingdom Mirage mold, that retool was exclusive to that Golden Disc, not the Golden Disc, the Battle Across Space and Time collection. So that'll be cool. I dig it. I like that. Then we have here Voyager class Springer. It says here it's a redeco. Now, this is probably going to be taking that Siege Springer and just maybe getting rid of that silvery battle damage from the Siege version and making it more clean. Maybe it's going to give us probably our best version of a Studio Series 86 Springer that we've probably been waiting for. That's a possibility. Or maybe they'll just take that Springer mold and just go to town on something completely different. Who knows? Maybe they'll give it a super toy accurate Springer and give him no mohawk and a brand new head sculpt and a weird kind of gray color scheme and stuff. Who knows how they'll tackle it, but it's one way that they could go about it. Then we got Voyager class Bulkhead, also a redeco here. Probably going to be a redeco of what we already saw of the Voyager class Transformers Legacy Bulkhead. Maybe they'll lean more on some Transformers animated colors, maybe give some new sculpting. Who knows? But there's one of the many ways you could go about it. Every Bulkhead historically has had some kind of green on him, even the Energon version. So they'll have to just kind of maybe lean on that and do some interesting colors with it. Maybe they'll give Bulkhead had some weird repaints in animated. He had like a construction repaint that was never released. Maybe we'll see something like that. Or the Bumpin' Battler color, which is vibrant green. Who knows? And the last ones of this list, and probably the most interesting of the bunch, is these two fossilizers that sound like they're brand new tooling. So we got Fossilizer Mammoth and Fossilizer Spinosaurus Rex. And these two, I mean, either they're brand new sculpts or they're extensive retools of what we've gotten before. And when I say brand new sculpts, okay, fossilizers historically have been deluxe classes. Of course, we had Dracodon and Vertebrake that technically are, their core class, but technically not fossilizers, although Mark, one of the designers from Hasbro, also refers to them as part of the fossilizers, so that's kind of here and nor there. But, I guess if you take, Paleo Trex or, which was used for the Transmutate and stuff, I guess if you retool it, you could probably get a Spinosaurus Rex out of it, maybe some new pieces. But for the Mammoth, I mean, what do you do with that? There's there's not much that you can really do with what exists already unless you're trying to be really clever. So maybe it's two brand new sculpts. On the flip side of it, maybe they're not deluxe class, maybe they're core classes and they're smaller sculpts, and that makes it more affordable. And then when I go into the second part of this, which is potentially these could be 2-packs because we have 8 figures here and they could be 4 individual releases like we already saw with the Golden Disc collection. We might get a fossilizer with Leadfoot, so you have a core class with a deluxe, and then you get a fossilizer, or maybe the fossilizers will go with the Voyagers. That'll balance out the price point, and they could have 2-packs of deluxes. But either way, the point is that these are brand new sculpts from what they sound like, but maybe I'm wrong. If they are core classes, that'll suck because then they don't have that mix and match, buildability of it. But if they're deluxes and they're brand new sculpts, hey, that's going to be fun for people and all the creative and collectible stuff that people have been doing with the fossilizers. Very interesting. Very interesting to say the least. But that's all we know, really. We don't know if this is legit. So again, take it with a grain of salt, Manzi. And we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think. I mean, the sources that I got from these, they're not that of JT Prime 17 or store listings or stuff like that. So we'll see what happens in the near future, but let me know what you think. I mean, the Leadfoot sounds interesting to me. That's the one that's probably, of all of them, for me, it's about getting characters that we haven't gotten in many years. Leadfoot is one of those. It's not even because I'm a big Formula One guy. It's also just because that's something fresh and new. I mean, for the people that didn't get Top Spin and Twin Twist, getting those, interesting color schemes, to say the least. I did some BotCon exclusives back in the day. I wrote the bios for different characters and that, but even with TFCon, I did some bios for some characters, and I did the Saltman Z repaint bios back in the day with some third-party guys. So it'd be nice to see maybe updated versions of that aren't third-party, I guess. And it's molds that, people could get their hands on. Let me know what you think. Very interesting, but again, take it with a grain of salt.